Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purple Curtain podcast. This is John,
This is Rusty.
and today we're going to be mostly talking about the video for Sing Out, which has just come out, and we're going to be talking about Ima ga Omoide ni naru, which was the album which was also recently released. It's been a bit of a break since the last time because, firstly, I didn't think we really thought there was much news to talk about. And also, personally, I was feeling very emo over the weekend about the graduation of Sashihara Rino. Because I know we don't.
It was quite a big event.
Yeah, I know we don't talk about AKB, but I was a really, really big fan of hers, so I was a little bit down about it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Not too much, but and there's a little bit of weird Nogizaka trivia actually from Sashi's graduation because Miyawaki Sakura and Yabuki Nako are both in Korea as part of Eyes One. I believe I've mentally called it iZone every single day since it formed, but Eyes One is the correct name. So they weren't present, but a video recording of Yabuki Nako and Sashihara Rino in real life sang a duet of Kimi no Na wa Kibou, which is all round a weird thing, but I think I said this on Twitter, I think that's weird, but what would have been even weirder is if Ika-chan had come out to sing Kimi no Na wa Kibou with Sashihara Rino, because I think they must have met while they were doing Sakamichi AKB together, but I genuinely can't remember any photos of them or anything like that, so that would have been very strange.
Yeah, I don't think they're friends or familiar with each other, Sashi and Ikuchan.
I don't think.
But I do know. Yeah, but I do know Nako's a Nogi fan, so I'm not surprised if Nako's singing this with. No, not too surprised that Nako's singing this with Sashi.
That really does. Yeah, Nako is a Nogizaka fan, which really feels like that's the only place that this choice of song could have come from.
Yeah, remind me of how a long time ago Mayu also sang Kimi no Na wa Kibou with Ikuchan. It was on an AKB concert, I think. I'm not too sure, but yeah, Ikuchan appeared and she played the piano while singing with Mayu.
Yeah, because if Sashi could choose a song, she would choose a Hello Project song.
Yeah.
And if the concert organisers were going to choose a song, they would have chosen an HKT song. So I can only see this song choice coming from Nako.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a weird little introduction to this episode. Just before we actually started recording this, the video for Sing Out was put up on YouTube. I think we've both had a listen. Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I listened to it. It's pretty interesting, I guess. I mean, personally, I don't feel it that much yet. At least, it's okay. It's not terrible, but it's not it's not like an iconic song. At least not immediately for me. It doesn't stand out yet, and they've been hyping it for the past few days. Every day they've been putting this little teaser on their Twitter where two members will come out and describe the song, and then at the end we'll see them all clapping their hand and dancing.
Yeah, I feel like it's been hyped more than usual.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
I think so.
I've listened to it. I think that when I heard the tiny little snippet at the end of the Twitter videos, I thought, I really hope that the rest of the song doesn't sound like that. And it doesn't. It sounds like that for about 3 seconds before. I think it's okay. I kind of feel like the potential was there for this song to actually fall apart quite spectacularly, because I feel like it is a bit of an odd one. But I mean, the chorus picks up a bit. It's definitely not my favourite Nogizaka single by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I mean, I probably like it better than Chikochu on first listen.
I see. Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is maybe finally force a breakout song.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way a bit.
Yeah, because Nogi never really have one. I mean, there's a lot of songs we like, but I mean, when it comes to a public conscious, Nogi don't have its song, a song that like the people can just recall and like, that's a signature song. Nogi don't have that.
I mean, we talked about this on earlier episodes, and AKB have got Heavy Rotation and Koisu Fortune Cookie in particular were breakout hits. For Keyakizaka, Silent Majority was a breakout hit. In a strange way where it sold a lot less than Nogizaka's single Cell, but I kind of feel like it made a big impact on the public consciousness. And I kind of feel like, yeah, like you said, no Nogizaka's song has done that yet, and it kind of feels like they're a little bit desperate for it to happen.
Yeah, and
maybe Influencer I think got the closest, but I still wouldn't say it was one of those songs.
Yeah, I think Influencer was the most iconic so far. Remember when they were doing that show where they go and interview people who came to Japan for whatever reason, like foreigners. And there's that one dude that Majun was interviewing, and he didn't recognize her as a Nogi member, but he know Influencer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Influencer had a bit of an impact, but still not quite at a level of like...
Well, maybe his contact lenses fell out or something.
Maybe, or maybe he's just doing a good variety pop.
Yeah.
But I agree. Influencer have a bit more of an impact, but it's still not quite there. And I guess management is trying to force one, but I don't think that song can do it.
I mean, I've only listened to it once. I think it's quite nice. I think that the chorus in particular is nice, but I don't think it's a great song.
Yeah. Before the song come out, when they were like teasing, I was wondering, was it going to be like Power to the People, from John Lennon?
Yeah. I sort of thought that a little bit, but I also feared that it might sound a bit like... My reference is probably going to be too old for a lot of the people listening, but are you familiar with Stomp, Rusty?
No, not really.
Well, if you Google it, you'll sort of see what I'm scared about. Google. Anyway, I'm sure there's probably some slightly older person who's listening who got that reference. Like, probably only one, but yeah. But I mean, I kind of feel like Torimichi in particular I liked a lot after 4 or 5 listens. So maybe it'll be a similar situation with this. Like I said, I only just listened to it literally about 5 minutes before we started recording. So I don't know how I'm going to sort of feel by the time the song actually comes out.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance it will grow on us. A lot of Nogi songs are like that. I think the problem is that if it's going to take a few lessons to grow on you, then it's not likely going to be a hit for the public. Yeah. So,
I mean, I kind of get the feeling that this song is going to be on Japanese radio a hell of a lot. So some people are going to get used to it before it gets out into the shops, but I don't think that's going to translate to giant crossover success.
Yeah. On another note, speaking of breakout song, like yesterday on Twitter, I saw something very interesting regarding one Nogi song. Like, Akimoto, Akipi, he get these songs before they're released, and he get to have some power to decide like who get what and that kind of stuff. And apparently he was talking to Techi about one of the song, and he was saying that the song, some people suggested that Keyaki get it, but he didn't feel like it quite fit Keyaki, and Techi was like, well, let me give it a listen. And she got to hear it, and she's like, oh, it's nice. And what she meant was that she liked it, and she should be happy if Keyaki got a song, but what Akipi thought was like, oh, this song is nice, and it's okay if I give it to someone else. So he gave it to Nogi. And later
we got their cast-offs. This is appalling. I can't.
And later on, Tetsuji obviously noticed that what happened, and she was a little bit upset, and she's like, why'd you do that? I like the song. Do you know what song it is?
No.
Synchronicity.
Ah, okay.
Which I thought was very interesting, because for once I agree with Akibi.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be... Even if Keikazaka had got it, I would have been jealous.
Yeah, like...
And it would have been the second Kayakizaka single I wanted to listen to more than like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with him. I don't... If the direct was the same, and it's kind of an odd fit with Kayaki, to be honest.
Yeah, also, what do you think about the covers? Because the covers are all completely different.
Yeah, the cover is kind of weird. Usually they try to like the style, the theme. There's some commonality to them, right? And this time they're a little bit starker in difference.
Mm.
I think they look nice, but they're definitely not my favorite covers.
Yeah, I mean, I think doing something completely different for each one might have been an interesting concept, but I don't actually really... The only photo I like is the one that's got the 3rd gens plus Miria, which kind of actually looks like an HKT cover.
I see.
Which I like it, but it kind of like even that one doesn't really feel like it fits. So, yeah. The thing is, if you're going to give all the covers to different people, they all need to have a good idea. And if they don't all have a good idea, you're kind of stuck. Which is what I think happened here.
I also feel like it doesn't really correspond well with their song. Like, for example...
Yeah, that's another point as well. Now that I've heard it, it does make me wonder a bit whether people listen to the song before they start designing the covers for it.
Yeah, because usually you should, but for this particular song, it doesn't feel like the cover really reflected like the previous covers usually do to a degree, but not this one.
Yeah, so... you also wanted to talk a little bit about the units, I think?
Yeah, I'm just kind of excited for the one with Ma Yang and Asuka.
Yeah, so am I. Have they ever used that combination before?
No, they never have a sub-unit like this before, so that's very interesting of a choice.
Like, I know that what they're probably trying to do is they're taking the opportunity to set Ashu and Mayan up as the sort of twin heads of Nogizaka now that Narchan has left.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite pro because, you know, like I like both of them. I'd like to see them, you know, take the group forward in the next couple of years. So, and it's also interesting because I feel like Asuka and Mayan kind of tend to get the more upbeat kind of singles. So I'm kind of curious as to what kind of song they're going to give them.
Yeah, that's true. Asuka had her solo once. It was a little bit of a calmer solo, while Mayan's solo was a bit more upbeat. So it would be interesting to see what they produce together here.
Well, I think it's interesting because those are the kind of singles that Ashu and Mayan usually center. But when Asuka and Mayan are sort of used individually, it actually kind of tends to go for the kind of darker image. So I wonder what they're going to do when they actually put them together, and which way they're going to go on that.
Yeah, I wonder where their MV. It would be really interesting if they do.
Yeah, I hope it's anywhere near as good as the MV to Kokoro no Monologue.
That'd be nice.
Anything as good as that, yeah.
So yeah, beside them, I also thought it was interesting that they're no longer giving Virgin like a Virgin song. There's a sub-unit of Virgin, but it's not like the whole Virgin, but there's a 4th gen song, and you know how Virgin got like Samban no Kaze, and for 4th gen they now have a similar named song.
Yeah, so I think I feel slightly regretful, but it's only because third gen have got a lot of good songs since they've debuted.
Yeah.
So the third gen song is usually one of the ones that I'm waiting for because I kind of expect to enjoy it now. I'm really glad fourth gen have got their song finally though, because we were talking
Yeah.
about no fourth gens being selected, and I kind of feel like this is one of the things they have to do before they can select a fourth gen. Sort of get a couple of get a couple of songs out there which really show what they're all about and the kind of overall theme that the management want to go for with them.
Yeah, and also the fourth gen song on the album was kind of lackluster in my opinion, so I'm glad they get another chance to have something that might be decent.
I quite like it, but again, I think we've kind of established I like the cheesier, more idly songs that they do. Like maybe we're gonna talk a little bit more about the new songs on the album later on when we talk about the album. So maybe just leave that for a little bit later. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. Beside the My Young Asuka subunit, the fourth gen one, there's also the one with Ikuchan and Sayuri, which is great. They always have good songs, so I'm looking forward to that one.
I did notice that one of the units on Sing Out is Ki-chan, Ayane, Minami, and Hori.
And Media.
And Midia. Right, sorry, I've written my notes incorrectly here. So yeah, there's a few members there who I'm glad to see in a unit. Like I kind of think that, like, especially seeing Ki-chan and Ayane in this one is a bit of a relief. You know, just because, you know, I don't want to see like members get pushed and then sort of sink back a little bit. So I'm glad that the Ki-chan push in particular is keeping up and that Ayane is still obviously in contention to be selected in the future. So just the fact that they've been selected makes me feel quite relieved.
Yeah, I agree, and it's good to see Media get something too, because sometimes you enter Senbatsu, but you don't really get anything else besides Senbatsu song. So it's good that you have a subunit, and when you perform Senbatsu song, often if you're not in the next Senbatsu, you won't get to perform it in your position anyway. So yeah, it's good that they're in a subunit.
So yeah, if you've got anything more you want to say about the single, now's the time, because I think we should move on to the album.
Yeah, it's a good time to move to the album now.
Yeah. So I think the first thing to talk about is the sales. Like, they've been spectacular for this album, haven't they?
Yeah, that's true.
I think first week was about 440,000 copies, which, you know, for an idol group album that's really, really high.
That's true. It's also significantly better than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, well, I looked a bit at the sales figures for their previous albums, and I mean, they seem to be in the sort of like 100 to 150,000 area. So this is a really huge rise. I mean, 440,000 sales would be very, very good for even a single for an idol group, because idol group singles sell much better than albums, like much, much better. So this is a really, really good performance from it.
Yeah. Another interesting thing is that among all of the all four Nogi album, this album is actually more like the more lackluster one for me when it comes to the new song they have. But it does have a very strong bonus content in the DVD, so maybe that helped.
I mean, that's something to talk about. Is that I've seen some complaints about not just the quality of the new songs, but also like the balance between the number of old songs and new songs. And I'd say that, like, my perspective on this comes from someone who I listen to a lot more music that's not idol music than is idol music. And to be honest, if I bought an album by any group that wasn't an idol group and it didn't have the singles and the B-sides on it, I would actually feel quite disappointed. So I think that my perspective on this might be slightly different to idol fans who want new stuff because they buy every single single that comes out.
That makes
But
sense.
personally, like I don't buy every single that comes out, so I do actually want um, the single songs on the album,
Hmm.
and as much of the good B-sides can get on the album.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Hmm. That
but I
makes
mean, like,
sense.
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's not so much the proportion of new song versus old song that make me feel like it's a more of a lackluster album. It's just that the new song I don't feel as like I like as much.
Yeah, well,
So
I think there is something to be said for discussing the B-sides that have been included on the album, but I think let's talk about the new songs now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you like any of them, for a start?
I like the A side Arigachina, the line by Sama is really good, and Sukiyama has a really good track record. He produced many other signature Nogi songs, so once again he have shown results. He also produced the Misa solo, and it's one of the songs I like more among the new songs. So yeah, there's a few good thing here and there, but for the most part, the rest of the song I find not as impressive, and that's where I'm coming from. Like I feel this is a weaker album for me because most of the new song I don't feel that strongly about.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because for a start, I think our opinions aren't completely reversed on the new songs, but they're quite close to getting there.
Mm.
The one I really, really liked was Gorgonzola, the one with
Mm.
Miria Hori and Kichan.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that one. I think I'll go through them like as they are on
Uh-huh.
the standard side. Anigetsu no Renai, I kind of thought again, kind of feels like a song that doesn't have much of an identity. But the
Mm.
thing that I was thinking while I was listening to this song is, um, every single song which is kind of written new, so you listen to the song before you see a music video or a performance or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Every single song always feels as though Ika-chan is centering it because her vocals are so prominent.
I got what I mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm not really into this. I kind of felt that it didn't have a strong identity, but I mean, it's not bad.
Mm.
Um, when it comes to Misa's song, I actually kind of Misa is a good singer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that they kind of asked her to stay in her comfort zone a bit because there's a
Mm.
lot of sing talking in this song,
Mm.
and I kind of feel like they could have made a bit more out, could have got a bit more out of her.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mean, like, what do you think about that? Because you liked it.
No, I think that's a fair opinion on it. It's definitely not among the stronger solo song among Nogi solos, so it's definitely less less of a brave choice, I guess. Misa definitely is one of the stronger singer in Nogi, so there could have been something that's a bit bolder, and this song isn't quite like that. So yeah, I think that's true. I think it's something I like, but it's not something that's quite up there. So it could have been better for sure.
Next song is Hozue o Suzuete Nemurenai,
Hmm.
which is this is a really really weird song. Like it feels as though it's got the ideas for like maybe 5 or 6 songs all crammed together,
Hmm.
and they don't. Like they haven't. I really feel like they haven't actually been constructed into an actual song. Like all the ideas for songs have kind of just been, like piled on top of each other without
Yeah,
much consideration for how the song will flow. I mean,
yeah.
I guess, like I really, really like the members in this unit, so I guess it might be more welcome to watch it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it is a bit like, sounds like somebody has listened to like a Captain Beefheart album and an Idol album at the same time and has tried to sort of like get the feeling of those two things. It's a very strange song.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of a jumbled mess. So it's not a song I would listen to more than a few times. So yeah, it's the song is one of the weakest song for me from this
Yeah.
album. Hmm.
I mean, it is kind of a shame because I kind of feel like there's definitely elements to that song which, had they actually been allowed to breathe properly, might have actually resulted in quite a good song. But as we have it now, it's kind of a mess. Next song is Sayuringo Boshuchu, which is, I mean, I'm assuming it's a Sayuringo Gandan song because it's got all the members of Sayuringo Gandan, but I don't think it says specifically on the wiki page whether it is or not. But it's the first thing is it's nice to see Karen actually getting some kind of send off.
Yeah.
And I actually like this song. I think I always like Sayuringo Gundam songs, but one of the things that's really, really bothering me is that I'm listening to this song and I'm sure it reminds me very, very strongly of another quite famous idol song, I think done by AKB, and I can't put my finger on it. And it's really winding me up. Did this remind you of anything?
No, it didn't. That thought didn't came across me, but now that I mentioned it, maybe there is something. But yeah, the thought didn't come across me, so it's something I need to think about a bit more.
If there's anyone listening who's heard the Sayuringo Gundam song on the new album and can tell me what it is that it's reminding me of, I would be really, really grateful to you. It's kind of winding me up now.
Yeah, please tweet us or leave a comment and let us know if you know the clue or like the answer to this question.
But it's I mean, I guess I'm going to put my comments for this song and the one for Kiss no Shuriken, which is the 4th gen song, together, which is that I actually like cheesy idol music which sounds a little bit more like older Nogizaka singles. I'm actually quite fond of this kind of sound, and I kind of also think that it's harder to get spectacularly wrong if you go for that kind of feel. Like I especially like the kind of like shoo 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 bit from the 4th gen single. One thing I would say though is that if you compare Kiss no Shuriken, which is like the first 4th gen song, to Sanbanmei no Kaze, then the comparison gets quite bad for it. Because Sanbanmei no Kaze was like the introduction song for 3rd gen, and it's a really, really good song.
Yeah. For me, it's I don't really have much to say about the 4th gen song. It's very underwhelming for me, unfortunately, and it's like you said, it's kind of bad, especially in comparison to actually most of the 3rd gen song for me. I like almost.
I mean, 3rd gen have had a really, really good run with their songs so far, which is kind of actually why I'm a bit sad they've come to an end. It's not really because I kind of feel like there should always be a 3rd gen song on every single. It's just that I kind of really like them, so I didn't want them to stop.
Yeah, like every 3rd gen song is really good, and for me it's almost like just the degree of how good it is, and that make it kind of sad for this 4th gen song, and also for 2nd gen. Like a lot of 2nd gen song I really dislike. So 3rd gen in comparison have a very good.
Songs do have a habit of being, like the quite generic sounding songs.
Yeah, and
2nd gen get those ones quite a lot.
Yeah, or other time I think they're a little bit too, I don't know, too out there, if you know what I mean. Like for example, what's that song called again? Is it Live Kami, or is it there's 2 songs I keep getting messed up. One of them is Live Kami and one of them is something else, but it was kind of experimental, but not in a way like, I like Scotland, for example, but I don't like that other song. And they also have Border, which is, like you said, Border is extremely generic, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because generic song can be good too. So 2nd gen don't have a good run with their solo song. It's gonna reflect how they've been doing, like not getting the best stuff from management. Unfortunate. But 2nd gen and 4th gen isn't doing too well on their song, in my opinion, so far. Compared to 3rd gen, 3rd gen's doing really, really well.
So there's one last song, which is Pochito, which really the note I've got is sounds like an anime song.
Yeah, that sounds
Take that
very
as you
much.
will. I think if you like
Mhm,
any song, you'll probably like it.
mhm,
Um, I don't really like the song, but I think that Ika-chan and Reika really do sing well together, and I'd like to hear that more.
mhm. Yeah, this song remind me of the song where Reika, Ikujang, and Misa sang together,
Mm,
and because Kibou is a quite good singer too, so this is similar to that in that they're all quite decent singers and they get subunits, so it's supposed to be good, but I'm disappointed with both songs. So,
yeah, I mean,
uh,
I think kind of like Hodzue o Susuite no Murenai, it
mhm,
does feel like it's got too many ideas crammed together, although I think it doesn't suffer quite as badly.
mm,
I think it's a slightly better song, but I
mhm,
mean, if I had to sort of single out which songs I
mhm,
liked, I
mhm,
would say Gorgonzola and Sairingu Boshuchu.
mhm. I see. For me, it would probably be their main song, Aregachi na Nenai, Gorgonzola, and their Saringo song. These are my three fave. There is one song that is like the best though, the saving grace of the whole album that you're missing out.
Yeah.
Their zombie song.
Oh,
It's so good, right? It's like so good. It practically make this album good. I'm joking.
yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah. I was. Well, I kind of had that sort of filed under a slightly different heading because I had that as a coupling song. So I was going
Mm.
to talk about the coupling songs later, but yeah, no, that's a whack song.
Yeah, I've seen people on Twitter saying they're listening to the album and then the song came out and it spooked them out because, nobody was expecting the song in like the set list and, you listen
Yeah,
to
well, I
all
mean,
these
it's
idol
like
stuff.
that's kind of something which I approve of. Like just shoving a song onto an album just to freak people out. It's like, yeah. So I guess that kind of made the decision to put it on a little bit more passable.
Yeah, like it's very, very different from everything else. Everything else is it's like fun and cheerful and idoly, and then there's this genuinely spooky song, and it's kind of interesting how they made the decision to put it on.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I guess one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is obviously like all five of the most recent singles are on the album,
Hmm.
and I listened to the album like all the way through
Hmm.
in order, and it
Hmm.
made me sort of think, I feel slightly differently about quite a lot of these songs to how I felt when they first came out.
Mm.
So I guess I'd just like to ask your opinion about all five of these songs, and then I'll give mine. So, what do you think of Nigamizu now?
Nikamitsu. I'll be honest. When it first came out, it was also kind of underwhelming for me. But nowadays, I appreciate it, especially when they perform it. I especially appreciate their choreography from it. The hand waving when they like swing it around, kind of like a windmill, I guess. Like it's a it's not a dramatic song. It doesn't have a lot of like up and down, but it's like soothing in a way that's comfortable, I guess. So that's my feeling about the song.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think Nigamizu is not particularly highly rated by Nogizaka's international fans.
Hmm.
It's actually one of my favourite songs by them now.
Hmm.
Like, the more I listen to it, the more I like it, and I've listened to it a lot now.
Hmm.
Um, I think the kind of tonal similarity it has to Sanbanme no Kaze kind of put me off a little bit when it first came out. But the
Mm.
more I listen to it, the more I appreciate it, especially
Hmm.
like um, all of the kind of sections in it which are neither definitively chorus or verse, I think are all
Hmm.
really, really good.
Hmm.
And the sort of like the weird Claire de Lune interlude it's got in it,
Mm-hmm.
The more I listen to it, the more I kind of forget that's even in there.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I listened to it, that was really, really jarring, and I thought it was like a bizarre thing to do. But now I kind of think that it's actually quite a good way of, like the verse and chorus are quite different,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of feel like it's actually quite a good way of connecting them without it making, it's. I barely noticed the fact that it's changed gears anymore, even though it felt so obvious the first time. So yeah, that's my feeling about it. I really, really like it now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Itsuka Dekiru?
Itsuka, initially I liked it more than Nikkei, but nowadays Nikkei surpassed it for me. Itsuka, it's a song that I feel like it's better if it's sang by, like maybe sang in solo, you know what I mean? Like it's sang as a Noki A side, so it's sang by a group of people, and I don't think that bring out the best of the song. Like for me, it isn't the best Noki A side to begin with, and the fact that it isn't being um, performed to its full potential kind of bring it down a notch. There's a particular cover of it on YouTube that I like a lot, and it feels more powerful and it's bring out the strength of it a bit more. So I like that cover version more than the Noki version, and I think that's some sort of my problem with the song is that it wasn't the best song for me to begin with, and I feel like its strength is being undermined a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't like it when it came out. These days, I kind of feel as though it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's partly because I've seen it being performed in quite a lot of emotive contexts during different concerts,
Mm.
and I kind of think that the situations I've seen it performed in have kind of slightly changed my attitude towards it because I now feel some kind of emotional connection to the song that wasn't there before.
Mm.
I still kind of think that it kind of like doesn't pace itself well, but I definitely like it a lot more than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Synchronicity?
Synchronicity is one of the songs I like from the get-go, and I still like it a lot. Like, it's a pretty steady song for me, and it's funny how it keep coming up in this discussion, really. Like, I just mentioned the Tetchy stuff at the beginning, and then there was... Actually, it was Tetchy again, pretty much. They were performing at a karaoke concert. But I feel like this song, it gets discussed a lot because it's a song that a lot of people like, and yeah, for me, that's the same. It's a song that I like from the get-go, and I still feel that way.
Yeah, I really liked it when it first came out, and I still really like it. Although, I think the only thing I would say is that over time I have kind of decided that I probably prefer Nigamizu. Again, I kind of think that's quite a fringe opinion. I'm not proud of that. I'm just sort of saying that I think most people would consider Synchronicity to be the superior song. But I think the bit that I really, really like about it is when the synthesizer, like swirls start to come in. That for me is like the point at which the song opens up and it sort of like moves from, like a song where I wasn't quite sure whether I liked it into something where I was very, very certain that I did. So I actually like synthesizers. I kind of wish that idol music would use them more frequently.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on that. Like I really liked it, and now I just, if anything, like it even more. But
No, that's fair.
What do you think of Jikochu?
Jikochu, it's interesting. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like it when it first came out, and they prefer a stronger song. And a lot of people also feel like it's too similar to Hadashi the Summer, but weaker. I personally think, I still prefer Hadashi the Summer over Jikochu as a Asuka summer single, but I do think Jikochu is actually a more energetic song than Hadashi the Summer. So when you're performing live, Jikochu is the song that makes you higher, I guess. Like you're more able to be into it. While Hadashi Summer is, I think, a better song, but there's less tension, as they say in Japan. There's like the tension a little bit lower than Jikochu. Jikochu also have this very cute choreography, every time we see Yoda going and flirting with Asuka.
Yeah, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's called in Japan, but like the game where someone will sort of like face the wall and then turn around and everyone's got to freeze when they look. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that element to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Jikochu, and kind of like I've heard it quite a lot since, and I still kind of can't really find it in myself to like it. There's something about the pacing of it has never seemed quite right to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of think you're right in the sense that Jikochu has like punchier individual moments than Hadashi De Summer has, but there's something about the Hadashi De Summer, I think, switches gears a lot more smoothly than Jikochu does. And Jikochu's chorus has it feels kind of, I can only sort of like describe it as being, it feels like it's bouncing.
Bouncing.
Yeah, I don't really know how else to describe it, but I mean, I've never really come to sort of like appreciate it as anything other than a single which Asuka centered. So I thought that was a good thing. That was about all I could really say that I really liked about it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, and like don't get me wrong. And being an AKB fan, AKB has definitely put out a lot of singles that I genuinely detest and actively really didn't want to hear every single time it was sort of like played during a variety show or something like that. And I don't dislike Jikochu anywhere near that much. So that's good.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's a song I like more than most people. So no, I think that's a common sentiment.
So what do you think about Torimichi?
Oh, Kaimichi?
Kaimichi wa. Oh yeah. Kaimichi wa. Yeah.
It's a long name, but yeah, no worries. It's I don't know. It's very quintessentially Nogi in a sense. Like it's a Nogi. It's a very signature Nogi song, but not necessarily a one that stands out. Like for example, if you want me to talk about a Nogi signature Nogi style or very Nogi style song, that's like memorable and iconic, I would probably say Kichi Tarakata Omoi or Sao Nana no Imi. Compared to those songs, Kairi Michi is a bit weaker, which is a bit unfortunate since it's not necessarily scratch single, but it's still an enjoyable song that I can always appreciate, if not to the degree of some of the other more iconic songs I mentioned.
So, I think when it first came out, I wasn't a fan of it, but I think I was not a fan of it because I was hearing all the individual elements of it separately. And I think what it does do really well is, there's stuff like, for example, that I kind of feel like the fast sing talking is like one of the things that Aki does a lot. And I definitely don't appreciate it in this song. But when I hear the way that the sections evolve and sort of shift from one into another, I actually think that works really well. And I really like the chorus. I think that I think it is a kind of quintessential Nogizaka song in the sense that because you've got to listen to it too many times for it to sort of like reveal what's good about it, it can't be a hit. But I think that when the chorus does take off, I think it is actually a really, really good song.
Yeah, it's not a bad song, but it's definitely not the best song.
But I think
can offer.
It is definitely one of these songs which I have come to appreciate a lot more through repeated listens. Like there's a kind of like familiarity with the song which makes it
Mm-hmm.
feel a lot better to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, when it first came out, I would have said it was a bad song. Now I think it's a good one. But
Yeah.
like I
Like
would
for
say, yeah, it's not on the same level as Synchronicity or Nigamizu to me.
mm-hmm. That sounds like a fair assessment. Yeah.
So, having talked about the singles, I think just like a quick question about the coupling songs that have been put on the album. Was
Mm-hmm.
there any coupling song that wasn't on the album that you would have liked to see on it?
Hmm. There probably is, though I haven't really thought of this question, so I didn't really make a comparison and look back
Right.
at what coupling song is in what single, so I can't say it for now. I'm glad they have Scotman, and I'm glad they have Toki Toki Meki Meki. Those
Yeah.
are two of their stronger songs from the past few single. So I appreciate that those two are in.
Because I had a couple that I kind of wish had been put on.
Mhm.
So the first one was Kokoro no Monologue, which is Mayan and Nanase's song.
Yeah, that's a good song. Mhm.
I thought that was a good song. And also, because of Wakatsuki graduating,
Mhm.
I would have quite liked Kohaku no Junban to be on there.
Mm.
And like anyone who's sort of like listened to the show regularly will remember that when we were talking about that single coming out, I really, really like Kohaku no Junban. I don't think it's a very popular song, so it is quite a selfish demand, but I would have quite liked to hear Kohaku no Junban on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds fair. I would definitely take any of those songs over maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any song I'd like to replace, but those songs are definitely something that I would like to see inside. Actually, Under. Why is Under in there?
Yeah, well, okay. There's a couple of other things I want to talk about, but
Yeah.
I think there are quite a lot of coupling songs on this album which aren't great and probably don't really belong on it.
Yes.
Because we both dislike Under quite a
Yeah.
lot, don't we?
Mm-hmm. They don't have the Wakatsuki Gundam song, which I think is kind of odd because it's a pretty good song in my opinion.
Yeah, that's Kohaku no Junban.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh no, sorry, it's not. I'm confused now.
no, I'm talking about like Shitsuden Ro Shoji Hito.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think they should have put one of the two on there.
Yeah, like at least one of them, but no, they have Under.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Like,
okay. So, like, basically, I don't like Under because I don't like the lyrics of Under,
mm-hmm.
and I don't like the song either. So,
Yeah, same. Like that's totally my feeling about it.
there's a couple of other songs in here as well. Like, I've never been a big fan of My Rule. I don't like it.
Mm,
I think My Rule is kind of seen as being quite a sort of like iconic song for a B-side, but I don't think there's much to it at all, really.
mm. I can definitely see a strong argument for other song over it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also, so it's My Rule, and I also think Atarashi Sekai and Sankaku no Akichi. I think all three of them are quite. I think all three of them are quite. There's not a lot to those songs,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think they could have left them off in favour of. Because part of my problem with this is I think there's quite a lot of really, really good coupling songs which ended up on the limited edition CDs only, which I'm a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna give some names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scoutman,
Yes.
really, really good song. Toki Toki Meki Meki, really,
Mm-hmm.
really good song.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mirai no Kotae
Mm-hmm.
and Boku no Shodo.
Mm-hmm.
I think like those four songs, I kind of think should have been on the standard edition,
Yeah.
and the slightly less individualistic songs should have been on the limited editions instead. Because I mean, I think asking people to buy multiple copies is one thing, but you can't put the best songs on the limited edition ones.
Yeah.
That should only be stuff for hardcore fans. Like the casual fans should get the best songs on the album.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like looking at it now, the choice of which songs on the limited edition, which songs on the one that every single version get, it's very bizarre, some of the choice. Like, I would definitely swap many of those around. I also include, like, the other songs instead of song they have. Like, Maiga is also a song I like a lot. It's very, very unique, but it's also very good. Like, it's very interesting as a song. It's very fun, but it's not up there. They have Naru instead. They have Anders instead. And even Dashidan Seikai and Sankaku no Akiji, they're okay, but they're not that good, not that special.
Yeah. It's just that I kind of feel like they can't compare to the songs that they put on the limited editions, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'd say, like I actively don't like Under, and I actively don't like My Rule, but I don't actively dislike Atanashi Seikai or Sankaku no Akichi. But I kind of feel like they shouldn't have been chosen over some of the songs that got left off.
Yeah.
And also kind of like, I've always found like limited editions for idol albums to be a bit, if you're kind of like, if you've got multiple versions of a single, and they're like about 1,000 yen each, that's something that's kind of like, it definitely is gouging fans, but it's like, it's an expense that somebody could plausibly deal with if they really liked a group. But like idol albums cost like I think like 4,000, 5,000 yen. So sorry, because I remember how much they cost in pounds in the UK, but that means nothing to anyone, so I'm kind of guessing how much they cost in yen here. So if you buy every copy, that's a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, they're very expensive. On the stage wiki, they say like their limited edition costs like 5,000 yen or 6,000 yen for the first limited edition.
Which I think is kind of a bit dodgy because CDs don't cost money. Like you can buy CDs for like an almost negligible amount of money. Like the production of the CDs cost them pretty much nothing. So I would never consider buying more than one copy of an album.
So that's quite unfortunate, and that's why the zombie song is the only saving grace of the album.
No, it's like I think I probably will buy this album at some point, because like frankly it's like less money than going back and buying all the singles I didn't get. But I kind of think that they could have done a bit of a better job of it when it comes to both the new songs and the kind of selection of some of the older songs as well. Especially because there have been a lot of good coupling songs within that time period.
Yeah, to be honest, I often choose the singles or album based on the cover. Because a lot of content, there's other sources like Spotify, for example, or other places. But the cover is it looks nice, so it's something tangible on the item you're buying. So that's something that I often consider more than their actual content, which is kind of superficial, I guess. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, which is, I mean, like, people have kind of had varying opinions on the album covers, but what I would say is that, Tome no Iro and Sorezore no Isu, I both thought had, like, really, really good covers. Like, I mean, they look a little bit like they're from some kind of Soviet propaganda cartoon with all the members lined up, like next to each other but they look cool at least.
And also, at least they made an effort to get older member and make new cover. These are new cover at the very least. The cover for Imaga Omoide ni Naru Mate is just take all the old cover and do some Photoshop, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because they did take new picture. We saw those very nice promotional poster picture, right? Where they're all under frame. But for the cover, it's mostly just like old cover being put in frame.
Yeah, it's kind of a pointless thing to do as well because nobody can actually see. I mean, it's kind of like the cover is based on these pictures.
Yeah.
But you can't see the pictures because they're too small.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like it was a bit of a pointless thing to do.
I mean, the concept's kind of cool because I get what they're trying to say. I guess it's an album of.
I think the concept is cool, but they should have based the PR campaign around that instead of using it for the covers.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So, I mean, I think we've covered everything about the album because we've covered the new material, the singles, and the coupling song choices and stuff. Do you think that there's anything we haven't talked about when it comes to the album?
No, I think we've been pretty comprehensive.
Right, so there are a few little news items we wanted to talk about a little bit. The first one is that Ika-chan has won a theatre award.
Yeah, it seems to be quite prestigious. How prestigious, I can't exactly tell, but it seems like most of the people she's receiving their award with are rather prominent. I only know the guy beside her, which is also one of the actors that play in Romeo and Juliet with her. But yeah, it seems like it's a pretty prestigious award, and she did a little speech talking about how she's like, not a usual kind of speech really, but yeah, it's really good to see her, and she's really doing well when it comes to musical work.
I think it is very good to see her being recognised by the community because it kind of makes me feel very, safe in the knowledge that her career after leaving Nogizaka will be quite secure, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. She's often absent, so she's like, you can really tell she's quite busy with her musical work. And I think the fact that she got an award here is another proof, another sign that she's doing pretty well on the musical front.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of people, I'd rather Ika-chan was around more. But if she's not going to be around, I would much rather she be successful in whatever it is she's doing that's not Nogizaka.
That's true.
It's much better than her sort of struggling away, not being able to make headway in the career she wants afterwards. And also I think you wanted to say, like, Ika-chan made a very weird cameo appearance in the drama, didn't she?
Yes. Actually, from what I gathered, the idea of Ika-chan appearing on that drama is made by their lead actor, actually, which is Fukuyama. And that's very interesting because Fukuyama is quite a prominent figure. He's quite popular among the entertainment scene. And I'm wondering, is he a Nogi fan? Because a while ago, during one of those TV appearances, he mentioned he purchased the Mayam photo book, and he told Mayam about that. That's the only instance of him mentioning Nogi that I'm aware of, but this is the second time that Nogi's brought up with him around.
A lot of people have bought that book, though.
That's fair. That's true. From what I gather, it seems like he brought it up during his radio show, although I can't find a clip for that radio show. But based on what people wrote down, he mentioned that the idea of Ika-chan being the poster girl for the drama he's playing, he brought it up, he raised the idea, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, so now we have Ikuchan poster all over there.
Yeah, Ika-chan is a literal poster girl for the drama.
Yes, so that's why I thought it was really hilarious when, Ikuchan poster, block photo, and there's one with her holding the script. Like, what's there for her to say? To be fair, she appeared also in the, like, film commercial. Like, there's a few seconds where they show, like, a TV where Ikuchan's actually saying something you can't really hear, but she's, like, being a advertiser for their bank.
Yeah, I like the idea of Ika-chan being even more famous in the alternative reality in which this TV show takes place.
Yeah, that's true. She's probably a bigger deal than.
That's quite an appealing idea.
Mm-hmm.
So as well as that, we have some news for Yamazaki Rena, and Yamazaki Rena is going to be. She's one of 2 hosts for a history show coming out. Is that right?
I don't know. Is that one of 2 hosts? Because the show is named after her. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like on primetime television. I think it's like Noki Eigo is on our satellite station or something, or is it on one of those cable station? I'm not too sure exactly what, but it's still a slot on a television station, so that's pretty good, and it's named after her, so it may give me the sense that she's taking on the main hosting role.
Yeah,
which is good.
I think it's really, really nice when you see things like this, and for example, Karen's Shogi program, where you get to see one of the members do something related to something that they're genuinely really interested in. Renachi has always been interested in history, and there's, for example, quite a lot of references to it in sorry, I've forgotten the name of the show. It's quite late and I've had a mental blank. Nogi-ten. In Nogi-ten,
yeah.
When they sort of go to some of the locations, like Renachi will say something about the historic locations they visit and things like that. So you can tell that her interest in it is really genuine, and I kind of think it's really nice that, quite often idols get asked questions about quite a restricted field of subjects. So it is really, really nice to see them able to talk about things which are, outside the kind of things that idols are usually associated with. And also, it is a good job. Anything where you're appearing for more than 1 or 2 episodes is a really good job if you're an idol as well.
Yeah, so I just looked up her Twitter account. It's on DTV, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's every Thursday at 9, so the time slot's pretty good. The show is called Yamazaki Nena History Time, basically. So, yeah, I think she's the main person for this, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a co-host, but yeah, she's going to be.
I thought that there was a co-host because I saw a picture of her and, an older guy when the news about this TV show came out, but that might have actually been the guest for that episode.
Could be. Do you happen to know what she studied in her university? Is it Japanese history or history in general? Or
I don't know, but if she's going to university, my guess would be that she's... you'd have to take some very specific modules. So it would kind of depend on the university she went to. Most universities don't do particularly well when it comes to international history. I don't know which one she went to. So if she went to a prestigious university, that might be quite a different situation.
Yeah, hers quite prestigious. She goes to Keio, which is one of the top universities in Japan. So I don't know how's their history department though, but it is a prestigious university. So maybe it's something with a good history department or something.
I don't know what she's studying, but she does seem to be. The 3 rulers period of Japanese history is pretty popular with most history buffs in Japan, and that's the only historical period I've actually heard her talking about.
Mm.
So she might have interest in history which is not late medieval, but I don't know because I never heard her talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's always something I've been curious about, because we do know she have an interest in history, and maybe wonder whether she studied it. But yeah, on another note, she's been going on a show called Q-sama, where they, like, a whole bunch of people are quizzed on all sorts of subject, not only history, but like various different topic. And on the most recent episode, it was very interesting because Chiharu also went on it.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing the photos from that.
Mm-hmm. And they both didn't make it to the final round, but Yamazaki did better than Chiharu in the end, which is interesting, I guess. Like, there's a little bit of competition there, but she prevailed. But Chiharu did well too. She answered several questions, right? She also answered a question on the female work participation rate. Like, she got that correct, whereas Nenatsu didn't get that one correct. But Nenatsu got the other question correct, so in the end she got to proceed ahead in the rank.
Well, I think, like Renachi and Chi-chan are both quite clever, but, there are sometimes the people who just do better when it comes to trivia.
Yeah.
There are, like, smart people who are, like, better at trivia than other people.
Yeah, and Nenachi's been going on this show for a while, so it makes sense that she will be able to be better at this game. Although they both go to prestigious universities, so that's interesting to know.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any of this show, like, put up anywhere. But if I do, I'll probably at least try and watch it, even though I know it's probably a bit futile. I have tried to watch history shows in Japanese before. There's just too many nouns I don't know in there. But I'm going to give it a go if I see it up anywhere, because I am very fond of her, so I want to see what she's doing.
Yeah, it's definitely something I would be interested in looking at too. And I wonder, will they just talk about Japanese history, or they're going to talk about history in general, and maybe they'll touch on stuff happening around the world.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things about, like Japanese TV that I'm sure anyone who's watched it knows is that there's copious subtitles. There's actually probably a surfeit of subtitles in Japanese TV shows, which so even if there's something that you don't know, like if they're talking about like a period name that you don't know or something, you might be able to actually read the subtitle, because I know that a lot of older Japanese nouns are just basically stolen from Chinese. So you might actually be able to read it even if you don't know what they're referring to.
You know what would be really fun? If they actually talk about the Asuka period.
Yes.
And they should just use the face of Asuka in the picture.
I think that, as a continuous running joke, they should accidentally on purpose show a picture of Asuka every single time that the period is referred to. Then take it down and then put it back up again as though they've actually got the right photo now.
That'd be classic. That'd be classic.
So, I don't have anything else I want to bring up, but you mentioned maybe Rakuten Goals Award?
Yeah, don't know if there is exactly anything special to talk about since it haven't happened yet, but yeah, Nogi is going to attend that. It's, I think it's in Hokkaido, is it, this time?
Yeah, and it does seem as though there's a lot of... Do you know, if you got a list of the members who are going to participate in it?
I might be able to find it right now, but...
But anyway, I kind of think I looked at it and I was kind of encouraged that there seemed to be quite a lot of, like younger members in there as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of third gen. I think the most notable thing is that Denjan is in,
Yeah.
and I think that might be
Did
Denjan. That might
Kuboshi
be
also get chosen?
yeah, I think Kuboshi too. The notable absence, I guess, is Mizuki, and that might be because she's taking a break. And the notable inclusion is Denchan, and that might be an extension of her being in GRL. So they're like promoting that.
Yeah.
hmm
One thing I will say is this comes from a very, self-centered place, but every single time they do one of these and Kaz isn't chosen, I do get annoyed. Because she's like, there's only 2 members with long legs. There's Kaz and there is Minimin, and that's it.
Well, Mai-chun have long leg.
That's also, yeah, Mai-chun as well.
And she
I
likes
mean,
to,
I know Mai-chun does like hitch her waist up to a ridiculous extent, but yeah,
true.
There is still something to show there.
Incidentally, both of them are in, so I found a list. There's Minami, Mai-chun, Momoko, Kuboshi, Asuka, Ma-yang, Miona, Matsuen, Yoda, Denjang, and Neika, interestingly.
Yeah, I always thought that like Reika, I always thought kind of fits magazine shoots better. Because she's kind of pretty tiny as well.
Yeah.
But there's something about her, like her face is like quite unusual. As well. I kind of think, I think Reika is like looks really good, but also looks really unusual. So I think she always looks pretty good when they get her to do modelling in magazines and stuff. It kind of actually makes me wonder why she doesn't do it more. But I mean,
Neika's weird. She's actually technically one of our models, like one of our official models. She's a model for what's that mag again? It's a pretty big one. Like a one that's I think Western based, and there's like a Japanese version of it. And that magazine have Gaki inside, so it's a pretty big magazine. The weird thing is that she doesn't appear in every issue. Like they don't seem to necessarily utilize her much, even though she's actually an official model for them. So it's super bizarre because even though Asuka got switched from her original Street magazine to not Street, her original magazine, I forgot its name. She went from that one to Street, and she doesn't quite fit Street, but Street still feature like 1 or 2 pages of her every issue, which I think is a little bit unfortunate, but makes sense, right? They chose Leika, but they don't feature her, which is bizarre. Like, why do you even offer her praise to begin with then?
Yeah. So, have you got any more news items you wanted to talk about?
I think that's it. I think that's everything we have that's notable this week. There's probably some other stuff, but, there's probably not much to say about them.
Yeah, so we got quite lucky because I think that, this last week we were thinking there wasn't that much to talk about, but then quite a lot of things all came along in a very short space of time, so now there actually has been quite a lot to talk about with the single and the album both coming out, so I think we got quite lucky.
Yeah, we talk about that today.
But I'm guessing that we probably won't have our next episode until next weekend, because I don't think there's going to be so much coming along before this weekend that there's going to be a full episode there. So that's going to be goodbye from me, John.
And from me, Rusty.